Good morning, everyone. This is Melody Reels at the Iowa Quilt Museum here in Winterset, Iowa at 9 a.m. Look at me, look at me. Not 9:01, not 9:03 or 9:05, 9 a.m. I'm here. We are going to talk about 3 quilts today. If you were on our social media, Instagram or Facebook, we are posting quilt blocks. Name that block. Well, we did 3 blocks, and because we're 8-pointed stars. So we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna real quick, because we've got so many quilts to go over. Happy October. We're here, it's fall, we're ready for the sweater weather. October here in Winterset, the second full weekend in October, which is next weekend, is the Iowa Quilt. That's my event. Let me start that over. Second full weekend in October is Covered Bridge Festival. So it's a great time to come to Winterset. We block off the whole square. We have shops. We have vendors for craft vendors as well as food vendors because we love our food. But it's a great time. We block off the square. There's that. There's lots of good stuff. And it's a big fundraiser for our covered bridges here in Madison County, if you didn't know. But that's next weekend, the 11th and 12th. Also next week, this is the last week to donate your anything for the Share Your Stash sale. So you have until next Friday. And then we're not taking any more because we have a ton. But so any crafting item you want to donate, we will take. We've got books and patterns, and we've got AccuQuilts, and we've got a serger. I think we have 2 actually. We have a couple of sewing machines. We have notions. We have fabric. We have scrap fabric. We have yardage. We have vintage. We have new. We have cafe. We have Tula Pink. We have lots of great fabric. We have yarn. We have so much. So November 8th is that sale. If you have cleaned out your room and you're like, boy, it looks empty in here. Or if you went to Hall in the Mall at the Des Moines Area Quilt Guild sale and you're like, I just didn't find what I was looking for. November 8th, come here and you might find it here. If you are close by and you'd like to help us sort what we have, we will take the help. You just come here to the museum and help us sort it. We've been getting together on Saturdays to do it, but you can reach out to me through our website if you'd like. Let's see, last week of donations, Share Your Stash sales, November 8th. October 25th, the last barn quilting classes are the 25th and 26th for the season. And then we'll maybe pick it back up in the spring. But they're about half full. One's a little more than half full. So there's room for you. Get signed up today for that. And I said the Covered Bridge Festival. Oh, we are running a capital campaign right now. And if maybe you don't want to, I don't know. We have when you go to our website and there's a menu bar and it says shop, go to shop. You go in there, and if you go on that menu and you go over and you'll find one that says make a difference, and you can donate to our capital campaign. You can donate to updating our upstairs so we can host events up there, or you can also make a donation in honor of someone. That person that's just hard to buy for, and they don't, they buy what they want, and so you don't know what to get them, and they're quilters. Then you can make a donation in their name, and that's on there as well. All right, let's get started already. We have 3 quilts to get to. So the first block that was on that picture that Sylvia did is this block here on this quilt here. And this is called a Feathered Star. Dimensions 80 by 80, circa 1870, found in Maryland. It says it's inscribed Susan Rector, unknown maker, but I don't know. I'd have to look on the quilt. It says, I am not sure how I could have not noticed this quilting, ! And we'll take a closer look in a second. I guess I was too busy admiring the overall graphics here. The dark ground and graded feathered stars and the appliqued vining border, light on dark. So until I was studying the quilt for this show, I had not seen the delightful hand quilting designs. It's a sampler of them, different designs for each block. So this block is called a Feathered Star. My little mini deep dive last night. Well, first off, they're all 8-pointed stars. And they all have the diamond shape in the center of them. The feathered star, they all have the feel of an Ohio star, which is the star. Anyway, so the feathered star quilt pattern emerged in the early to mid 19th century and is well known. Examples created by Rachel Burr Corwin between 1825 and 1850, and became popular for this intricate design and ability to showcase skill and expensive fabrics. Though not always a named pattern in the early period, the feathered star is associated in the late 1800s and early 1900s by the name feathered star, appearing in the Ladies' Art Company catalog in 1889, and a later reference in Ruth Finley's 1929 book, Old Patch Quilts. And I got that from the Smithsonian website, and I will post that website. There is some more in here. The feathered star was one of the few named quilt blocks in the 19th century. It's a very early pattern and was copied by many quilters for good quilts. The pattern took some skill to draft and block and to sew all the tiny pieces. It was also a good way to use up tiny scraps of expensive printed fabric. Good dressmakers would show off their skills on their beds when company came. When guests would come to visit, they would spend the night because travel took a while. The best quilts and bed linens would be used for the company. You see some excellent examples of the quilts in the museum today and the pattern of highly prized by quilt collectors. And I got that from Momo's Cupboard website. She did a little write-up, and there's another beautiful example of it of a feathered star on International Quilt website. So I will post those websites for you after this video, and you can take a look. And real quick, I wanted to just address applique. For us non-quilters, applique is when they attach the fabric to the top of the piece. They make a design and they attach it. So it's, these are pieced together and they're sewn together. This is sewn on top, right, of the quilt. And so the word applique is, there's a whole thing on the history of applique, and it's actually also a website on the appliquesociety.org. And I will, instead of boring you with reading it in my voice, maybe you'd like to read it yourself. So I will post that. So let's look at the quilting she's talking about. Look at these delicate, sweet little flowers. And it's not the same. Look at this flower. So she's saying it was like a sampler quilt, and it's kind of showcasing her quilting and her little dainty little flowers. Isn't that the sweetest? And I think this has got like a leaf design here. That looks like a tree. But here's the applique. See how it's sewn? It's, you got the seam underneath. You've got the, oh gosh, I know the word. The extra fabric underneath, and they sewed it around. Here's those little dainty flowers again. So it looks like, oh, look, she even did this one upside down compared to what we just looked at, compared to this one right here. Very sweet. Let's take a look at that fabric. This almost looks two-toned, like these are darker than this, the border here, or the sashing. And there you can see the applique work here on the back. Oh, look at that. Interesting. Wait. She used colored thread. Oh my goodness, there's quilting in the blue that we can't see. She used colored thread. Do you see that vine with the little flowers and the leaves coming off of it? It's in here. But she didn't use white thread. It looks white on this side. But when you flip it over, it's colored. How adorable, how sweet. Oh. Look at that there. That's the center block. So that's in here. Oh my goodness. It's like almost like an I Spy. You really have to take your time on this one. This one seems, when you stand back, you're like, oh, okay, feathered star, great. But then when you get in here and you realize there's quilting all throughout here and down here, and then the delicate little flowers that she quilted, and then the flower on the inside. Let's look on this side. How fantastic. Okay, feathered star, everybody. If you guessed feathered star, yay you, congratulations. Okay, I'm gonna spin you around because you saw, oh shoot, I just turned down my volume. I don't know if that matters. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm gonna spin around, don't get dizzy. Now this one, oh, good gracious, this one was a challenge. So this one, Julie Silber calls spider star. So I looked up spider star. Golly, there was nothing out there. So I reached out to Julie and she got back to me, and I will tell you what she told me. But let's read what the placard says here that we have in the museum. This is spider star, dimensions 64 by 74, circa 1880, found in Michigan, a known maker. Most 19th century blue and white quilts are more white than blue. As my mom's collection of blue and white quilts grew, it naturally evolved. In Mary, her mother's, last year's, she was more and more drawn to the less common examples, such as those with an indigo ground. When these included stars, she called them night skies. That's really sweet. I do like that. Okay, so I emailed her and I'm like, could you help me with this? Because she is the quilt historian. And I did find an example similar to this on the Quilt Index. And so I reached out to Julie and I was like, I need help. And her response to me right away is, I am puzzled. I don't know where I got the name. Maybe I made it up. And then she said, I'll call out the troops and put the word out and find out what, she said, stay tuned. So, well, she said the troops came through. Thanks for checking in the variation of the 5440 or fight pattern. And then she sent some examples and I'll show you. And then, so here it is. I don't know if you could see that. Do you see where it says 5440 or fight pattern? And this is pretty much it right here, this top one. And I think they call it sun rays, maybe. There's a good example of this down here, but it's got the little detail in the center. And I think that one is called Dove in the Window. But there is so many variations of, oh, look at this is a good one because it has the diamond in the center, but then it's got these on the side. So many different versions of an 8-pointed star. It's insane. So it literally drove me a little crazy last night trying to figure out information on all these quilts. But I'm doing my best because I want to give you the best and accurate information. But so let's take a look here at these this night sky spider quilt that she calls it, spider stars. Oops. Okay. What I find interesting is, you know, you've got this, but if you come over here, you've got these diamond shapes that it kind of makes all the way around it as well. And look at all this quilting in here. Continuing with the diamond pattern in a sense too. Right? At least in here, even in here, is there quilting? There is some quilting in here. You've got a couple of stripes here. So when she's piecing it, what is she piecing? Because this looks like a solid piece of fabric. This is a solid piece of fabric. So is she piecing what? Because it's not, we're not breaking it up in here. I think, did she do strips and strips? That would be my guess, because this is not This is a solid piece, like I said, and this is a solid piece. These are solid pieces, so, you know, this isn't the block here. I feel like she did strips. This is a solid piece. This is not broken up. So did she go this way? Or did she just make the stars? I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused. Shall we flip it over? Let's see if we could get a look at some of the quilting on the back. You can kind of see the outline of the star points. There's her diagonal lines. Diagonal lines in the white. And then her diamond pattern in the boxes. You know, it just kills me. Look at that accuracy in her quilting. And no pencil marks that I can tell. Like this is, they're just quilting. They're just doing it. They're just quilting in a straight line. I can't even cut a piece of paper in the straight line, let alone, well, I could thread a needle, but that's about it right now. But anyway, she calls this spidered star, but we think it's that 5440 or the fight. Ooh, hold on, let me get you back on because we have one more quilt to go over. I like, though, that her mom calls this, what'd she say, a night sky. All right, one last one, and this one is a doozy. Ready? We're going on a road trip. Hold on, everyone. Circling around to this beauty. This isn't one other quilt that we have in here. We talked about trapunto work with the Drunkard's Path a few weeks ago. Well, this is another one with trapuntoed work. If you don't remember, I'll go over that. But this she labels Exploding Stars, dimensions 75 by 84, dated in 1870, found in Michigan. There are initials here in the date, 1870. I think it's MEB. Most likely the quilter that made it. Quilt makers found many ways to sign and or date their quilts. Inking, cross-stitched, embroidery, applique are quilted in and sometimes hidden in the stitching. Someone very comfortable with the art of trapunto decided to use that elegant technique and add initials and a date on the right hand. So I'm going to take you off and we'll take a look. This, I don't know if you could tell, my phone is somewhat straight, but it kind of pulls this way. It all pulls, and I'm sure that's just from age, but it also kind of pulls the X's, the bottom left point kind of pulls that way as well. So again, in the center here, you have an 8-pointed star right in here. And now today that's as a Ohio star. But with this coming out, these smaller triangles coming out gives that exploding star. And so when I looked up exploding star, there was also another name called mathematical star. So I will post some of the blogs that I found, but the Ohio star wasn't called that till much later. The designer's versatility also meant it could be created using scraps from old garments and leftover fabric, making it practical choice for thrifty homemakers. Legend has it that the Ohio star's popularity soared during the 1800s, a time when quilts served not only as bed coverings, but also as tools of communications. Now, here we go again, people. Some historians suggest a certain quilts, including those featuring the Ohio Star, were used to convey coded messages along the Underground Railroad. What have we said? We can't prove it. Guiding enslaved people to freedom. While the theory remains a topic of debate, it adds an air of mystery and intrigue to an already beloved pattern. So again, there's nothing that can confirm that Ohio Star was used for such a thing to help guide people, but that legend still is out there. So let's, and then if you don't remember, trapunto is, see how this looks embossed like it's popping out? That's called trapunto. It's an Italian quilting technique originating in Sicily around the 14th century. Oh my gosh, I found some great examples. Somebody did a dog on a dress. So I'll post those where you can see more work. Post those websites so you can see more trapunto work. But 14th century is the oldest known example is the Tristan quilt. From the late 13th century, the technique spread to other parts of Europe, including Tudor England, and before being brought to America by immigrants. Trapunto has historically been used for both clothing and quilts, resulting in elegant stuffed work to become popular and admired craft. So let me take you off. And if you remember what they would do, look at this. The details in this trapunto work is insane. It's just crazy to me. And then here's her M-E-B and then 1870. So if you don't remember, they would poke a hole and stuff this full of cotton or some kind of filling. But it took me a hot minute to kind of find these holes because they're, especially in the trapunto work, I'm like, there's no holes in this. But then as you start to look a little closer, you find that maybe there's a patched hole there. You find little holes. Look at the chain she created. How much time did it take to fill all of these little details? It's gorgeous. This is definitely a viewer's favorite. Here's when I talk about non-quilters, Ohio star, this is the Ohio star. This is the exploding star when you have these pieces, these triangular pieces coming off of it. So what was this, 1870? You can see the quilting through here. It's pretty uniformed all the way through. So this is her quilt block, and then she'd have this that she created. And there is this great border here that she created. There is a slight discoloration in this here. It's a little lighter. I don't know if that's different fabric or if it's discolored with age. My guess is it's a different fabric just because it's limited to that space there. It doesn't change color on the sides. So I don't know how it would just happen in that strip if it wasn't different fabric. Let's take a look at the back one more time. And maybe look a little more at her quilting. Can you see it underneath my shadow? Just again, that consistency of just continuing on. I mean, it's a little more heavily quilted in here than it is on the sashing here on the sides. And then obviously not quilted in the trapunto work. She is a beauty and a unique beauty at that. Just look how great she looks even from a distance. Even more so, just really that trapunto work just really kind of popping out at you. Okay, everybody. That was a lot. I went on for 23 minutes and probably 10 of that was just talking about updates and blah, 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 not about the quilts. But hopefully you learned something today. We saw 3 beautiful quilts, 8 pointed stars, different versions, feathered star, exploding star, what was it, 5440 or fight star. So tune in for next week. We'll feature another block, learn a little something new, and see another beautiful, beautiful quilt from the late 1800s. It's insane. It's insane. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Or I'll flip you around before I finish. Okay. Bye, everyone.